Years ago, my dad's sister would go to cookie exchanges before Christmas, and on Christmas Day, she would set out a bunch of cookies and some candy, but mostly cookies, and there was this little chocolate ball that had peanut butter inside that was so good, and I never asked her how it was made or if she got the recipe from her friend, and then she died. So time went on, and I always wondered about that, and last year someone gave me a recipe for chocolate peanut butter bonbons, and I looked at the recipe and I thought, I think this is it, and I've made it. It has Rice Krispies in it, which I always knew when I was 12 years old and eating these. They're really easy to make. You make them, you'll do some melting. There's a 2-step process actually, but they're easy to make. It'll be fun to make these with kids, and let's get started and I'll show you how to make them. We're going to start off with, it can be a small pan over low heat with 1 stick of butter. It can either be salted or unsalted, it doesn't matter. I cut the stick of butter into little pieces and put it in the pan. And then we're going to have 1 cup of creamy peanut butter, which I've already measured and put in here, and then another cup of crunchy peanut butter. And I'm going to link to another video where I show how to use this kind of measuring cup to measure sticky things. And I'm going to put that in here. And while that is melting together, I'll show you what else we're going to measure. In this large bowl, I have 4 cups of powdered sugar, and now I'm going to pour in 3 cups of Rice Krispies Cereal, and I'm going to mix it, and then I'm wondering if this, my largest bowl, is large enough. That's interesting. So now I'm waiting for the butter and peanut butter mixture to finish. And I'm just going to mix this up. This is a lot of sugar, a lot of peanut butter. Okay. So now we'll go back to the peanut butter and butter mixture to see how that's going. This is an interesting mixture. I'm still over low heat. Sometimes the butter gurgles a little bit. But obviously the point is to get all of that peanut butter so melty that it's not in clumps anymore, because if it's in clumps, it's not going to mix well. And then after this is completely melted and liquidy, we're going to add it to the Rice Krispie mixture and mix it together. And then you use your hands to make 1/2-inch balls and put them on a small cookie sheet that fits into your freezer, because that's just step 1 of the process. And we're going to freeze these things for a while before we coat them in chocolate. Okay, so this looks pretty good. It should take a few minutes. All right, so let's add this to the Rice Krispie mixture next. All right, so here goes. I'm going to mix this all together. It's starting to burn a little bit on the bottom. Okay, and I got a different spoon to mix it together. This is interesting. So of course you want to keep the Rice Krispies as crispy as possible without breaking them. So I'm just going to keep turning it. Oh gosh, this is interesting. You might even want to use your hands at this point to Use even a bigger bowl if you have one. That's a lot of powdered sugar. Okay, so you're getting the idea. It's going to take some time to churn these out. And once they're tossed, then we're going to make 1/2-inch balls and put them on a cookie sheet that fits into the freezer. So that's what we're going to do next. All right, so I'm going to take a piece. The peanut butter holds it together, and I'm forming a ball. It's about that size, and I have a cookie sheet that's out of camera range. So this could take a while. And my cookie sheet is just a plain cookie sheet. I don't have any, it's not greased, it's not lined with parchment. There should be enough grease in the little balls themselves with all that butter and peanut butter. And of course you're not going to bake these, so they can be really close together on the cookie sheet. They're not going to spread. Okay, so you get the idea. So you can mold it in your hand like this. They're still a little bit warm. Make a ball and keep doing this until you're completely done, and then we'll put them into the freezer. But I'm not going to make you watch this whole thing. I slipped the cookies on one tray here. I got another tray somewhere else, but it made a lot of cookies. So we'll check these. I'm actually going to let them freeze overnight. And next scene, we're going to be putting the chocolate on them. Now that the cookies are in the freezer and they're frozen, now it's time to melt some of the chocolate, well, all of the chocolate. So what I have here, I'm going to make a double boiler. And what you do is you take a pan, this is a medium-sized pan, and I've got some water in here to make a double boiler. In the olden days, pots and pan sets came with a double boiler. But then the other thing you need is a metal pan like this. And we're going to heat it over pretty high heat, medium to medium high. And the thing is, you don't want the water to boil and touch the bottom of the pan. So we'll get it to the point where it's simmering. You have to get a metal pan for this that just fits over the pot. And then the last ingredient is chocolate chips. And you need 24 ounces. So it's a pretty big bag. I don't know if you can see that. So it's a 24 ounces of chocolate chips that I'm going to open and pour in. And we're going to melt these. And keep an eye on it, because if chocolate gets too hot, it will burn. So keep a spoon handy to stir them when they start to melt. Don't walk away from this for too long. Now, because we're using a double boiler, they shouldn't burn, but, you know, you just want to keep an eye on it. And once they're melted, then we're going to take the cookies out of the freezer and start to coat them with the chocolate. I took the melted chocolate off of the double boiler and set it on something that can handle heat on the counter. I've got my frozen cookies here. And then here I have the same cookie sheet, but I have it lined in wax paper. After we coat the cookies and put them onto this cookie sheet with the wax paper, we're going to put it in the refrigerator. So let's go back to the chocolate here. And I have a fork and a spoon, and I'm going to dump a cookie in here. Twirl it around. Actually, I'm going to put the spoon in my right hand, left hand, and let some of that chocolate drain off. Actually, it's not real drippy, is it? And then I'm going to set it onto the cookie sheet. So, hopefully you can see that. I'm not going to make you watch me do this to all of them. Obviously I don't want too much chocolate on here because I don't want to run out of chocolate. And actually the chocolate isn't too runny. Okay. And then get some of it off. So I've got 2 bonbons here on the cookie sheet, and now I'm going to do the rest, but I'm not going to make you watch me do it. Actually, I'm going to show you one more so you can see me move it from the bowl to the cookie sheet. Now the point of the fork is so that stuff drips off through the tine, but this chocolate is actually pretty thick, so yeah. Now if you're thinking that you're not going to freeze these cookies, you're just going to take them from molding the cookies to putting the chocolate on them, I will tell you the peanut butter and butter mixture will melt from this hot chocolate, so you really don't want to do that. So this chocolate is thicker than I thought it would be. That's okay. And then I just drop it on. Alright, now I'm going to do the rest without you watching. Here's my first group of bonbons that are ready to go into the refrigerator. When the bonbons have finished setting in the refrigerator, you can take them out. Of course, they're ready to serve. If you're not serving them right away, though, I would suggest that you store them in the refrigerator in a covered container. Or if you're not going to be serving them for a while, put them in a covered container and put them in the freezer. Then you can serve them with cookies. They are basically a candy, so I put them on this little candy dish. They're really delicious, and I was so glad I finally found the recipe.